Well, my name is John Grimes, and I graduated in the year of 1964. I was the drum major of the high school band, and my sister Mary Grimes is with me here.
How are you?
All right,
I was a Conch fritter.
Yes, they know this. My sister Mary Grimes graduated in the year 1963, and we both we were born in Key West and grew up here. Both of us were born at the Naval Hospital.
Right.
And our father was an Army man stationed here in the Signal Corps during World War II. And our mother was Tomasa Rodriguez. She was the daughter of Maria Ruiz Garcia and Emilio Ruiz. And we lived on Whitehead Street, what would be today the house right next door to the second oldest house in Key West. And across from at the intersection of Petronia and Whitehead. So about 5 or 6 doors down, all the bungalows between our house and the Hemingway House. That was a wonderful place to be a baby and a child because we had all the sights and smells and sounds of Key West at our fingertips. The palm trees at their best before all the blights hit, big, tall, wonderful coconut trees. Playing in the backyards. Our uncle was Enrique Solano, and he had chickens in the backyard, and sounds of all the sights and sounds of Key West on Whitehead Street. And in particular, I remember as a child seeing a lot of military people, sailors in their white uniforms, walking by in large groups, and knowing that the naval base was just down the entrance was on Southern, a few blocks away from the house. Of course, you weren't allowed to leave and go on your own. You were too small.
Well, our neighbor was Ernest Hemingway.
Right.
There on the corner.
Though we never actually met him. It was after the years, I think, in which he had left Key West. But I think Mary still had the house, Mary Hemingway, that was his first wife. And it started becoming known as a tourist haven. We never actually went in there. We knew about
I did.
Yeah, but she snuck in. I didn't.
I
was a good kid.
I climbed over the fence and went up into the second story and watched them when they were doing the remodeling of the pool. Right. And heard a noise, and the little boy that coaxed me into doing this and pulled me up over the fence, he and I just scuttled out of there and ran into somebody and just went, both of us, one on one side, one on the other, took off. So that was my Hemingway experience as a child.
Then we would walk down either Petronia or Olivia, I guess is the other corner, right? And we would walk past Duval to Simonton, and right in the center at 820 Simonton, where our cousins still live, was the family homestead, we'd call it that. This is where the Garcias live today. Manny Garcia's mother and father, Gregory and Isabel Garcia, they're our cousins. So for us, Key West was an incredibly special place from which to move on and have a life in a different place perhaps, or a career, but you never leave. This is always home. It will always be home. The people will be your people. And the memories are very, very sweet, not even bitter. The only bitterness is the loss of the people you loved and that past, which was so wonderful. I could tell you so many great things about this island. I remember when I was in high school, I was a paper boy and for the Key West Citizen, and delivered the newspaper for about 2.5 years to Tennessee Williams' house. Never saw the man, never even saw anyone who paid the bill. All I know is about every 3 months there was a wad of money in the mailbox after a succession of late bills that I submitted, and I would go home with like $30 or something and think,
that was great.
Boy, I'm rich. The guy never paid his bill, but I never saw him. And it was interesting. We knew he was there, but we didn't know when. Key West was really amazing.
It was nice. And when I was in high school, they were filming the Pink Petticoat.
Pink Petticoat, as well as the Rose Tattoo.
Yeah, and the Rose Tattoo. Yeah, and I was watching that, and I said, matter of fact, I spoke with Burt Lancaster at that time, and now that I see the movie and I see how young he was and how handsome he was, and then to see, time is awesome. Mm. But anyway, he signed an autograph for me. But during the other movie, the Pink Submarine or Pink Petticoat, whatever it was, Tony Curtis signed my hand, and I would not bathe that hand. I mean, this is the days when these things happened, and they were wonderful days.
My mother remarried and married Oscar Rodriguez, an old Conch family, and uncle to Bubba and Everett Sweeting. Oscar was working, and someone discovered that he had a sort of look-alike. He was a bit of a look-alike to Gilbert Rowland, the B movie actor in the 12. What was it called?
12 Mile Reef.
Beneath the 12 Mile Reef or
Right.
something like that was the movie in the 50s. And so they got him down to the boat docks to pose next to Gilbert Rowland in the picture. And somewhere in our archives,
Yeah.
we have a picture of him with a lot of fish in the background. And then later, when I got into, I was about 12 or 13, I went down to the boats. I lived at the projects, George Allen Apartments near the Garrison Bight. And I basically went up to each boat captain and said, "Can I work on your boat just so that I can go out fishing on weekends?" And the person who responded and said, "I don't really have a job, but you can come down and clean my boat in the afternoons, and maybe I'll take you out." And it was Captain Shirley. Captain Shirley, I can't remember her last name now, but she had a boat that competed with Tommy Lone's Gulfstream and Captain Tony Teresina's Greyhounds 1, 2, and 3. And her name was Shirley.
Somebody.
Oh boy, I've
boy.
lost it. And she had a boat called the Storm King. And she upgraded the Storm King one year to a converted PT boat that she bought. And she had a glass bottom in the center. So we'd go out and go over the reefs and kind of point things out to people. What I recall is you never could see the bottom very well. It was kind of a bust. But we did catch some fish, and it was mostly fun for me as a kid, just growing up, doing this stuff.
Do you remember anything particular in the 50s?
Oh, lots. Because those were the years where we would have been in junior high school. I went to May Sands, to Truman, and to Memorial, or Horace Bryant later.
San Carlos.
Oh, that too. We started at the San Carlos School. Learned to speak Spanish before English, in fact. And today I'm bilingual, fully bilingual. You know, I believe very much in bilingual education, actually, because it worked on me. And I later in my life, to supplement my career in music, actually became a paralegal, a court interpreter up in Boston, and actually Spanish and English. And it was incredibly helpful. And my grandmother, Maria, used to always say, "Learn 2 languages, it will someday come in handy." Boy, was she ever right. You know, it paid the bills. Just a great, we miss Key West very much. We lost our mother, Tomasa Rodriguez, in 2005, on November 15th. And she was very, very much a part of our vision of Key West. To us, Key West was our mother and everything around her. She never left the rock. Yeah, well, and all her love and her humor. She had an amazing sense of humor, and she was connected to the past. So she and my grandmother provided us with a connection to our past. My grandmother's first cousin was Domingo Milord, the Cuban consul to Key West in the 1930s, and they had come from a small town, Bejucal, in Cuba. And so we were provided with a link and many, many stories about the past family.
My grandfather was a cigar maker, and so was our grandmother.
Right. So they worked in the factories both in Ybor City, in Havana, and in Key West. So they were part of that whole diaspora, you might say, that came out of Cuba in the turn of the last century. So those are our roots.
That's wonderful. It's very rich history.
Thank you.
Are we off?
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's John?
Yes, and Mary.
Okay.
Grimes, Grimes, yep.
Okay, and your date of birth again?
February 3rd, 1946.
Okay.
And she was born in 45, right? 44 or 45? 44, June 8th, 44.